Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another ARPneuro Q&A. My name is Jake. I am your trainer, and with us for the fun, the comic relief, the excitement, golf expert, Matt Dell. I call him the Maverick. Matt, it's good to see you.
Jake, what a beautiful evening, huh?
Always. I mean, we're not trying to brag, but yes, it has been some pretty beautiful evenings the last several weeks.
I saw zero of the eclipse, though, today. Did you?
I did not. Now, I'm guessing the sun is brighter as a result. It seemed like the sun was brighter through the window, so I was told not to look at it because I'll go blind.
Yeah.
Try not to do that.
Somebody sent me a few good pictures, so it looked pretty cool. But anyways,
Yeah.
what an exciting night. I'm very excited about our guest.
Yes, same here.
And I think we're going to break tradition a little bit. Instead of giving the overview, hopefully everybody's got it. If you have not seen any of our Q&As or don't know anything about our technology, highly suggest going to our website, ARPneuro.com. And we have basically two products. We have a Class 2 medical device, an RX100, and we've got a PRS. Both contract. It's a neurological stimulation device that we'll be talking to a very exciting guest tonight to find out how she's integrated into her practice. And if you have any questions, we're always live. We love them. We see a ton of people, logged on, and so feel free to fire away as we go. And this is kind of make it interactive as much as possible. So with that, Jake, I think why don't we jump right in? If you have any an overview, would be great.
Absolutely. So some of you already know, but let me give you a brief overview of our amazing guest. So she is passionate about helping people achieving optimal health and wellness through injury prevention, rehabilitation, and nutrition coaching. All you golfers, look out, because she's also a certified Titleist Performance Institute golf specialist, allowing her to use a unique blend of injury correction and game improvement exercises to help her clients take their golf game to new heights. Matt, I could use that because I could barely swing a club. She's dedicated to empowering her patients with knowledge so they're able to live their best lives and be their own health advocate. Everyone, please welcome Dr. Katie Brecheisen. Dr. Katie, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time to go with us and through this journey of the ARPneuro technology.
Of course. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Matt. I'm really excited to be here with you guys.
Yeah, this is great. As you know, I didn't ask any questions because I like to fire live. So let's just start with the basics. Where are you from? Where do you live? Those kind of things.
I am originally from the Kansas City area, just outside of Kansas City. And I am now in arguably the more sunny state of Arizona. I'm in Phoenix. The clinic is actually in Scottsdale. So that's where I reside now.
Awesome. So tell us a little about your journey. Have you always been kind of active in golf, or?
I actually was a college athlete. So I started basketball, volleyball, played volleyball 4 years, and then went into chiropractic school. And in chiropractic school, got into golf, which is what led me to TPI, Titleist Performance Institute out in San Diego, and absolutely love what they teach and have utilized those skills to then help build this practice here in Scottsdale. So it's been a lot of fun.
Okay, so I have to ask, where did you play volleyball? What school?
I was a junior college for 2 years, which love JUCOs. And then Columbia College in Columbia, Missouri, my last two.
Very good. Okay, and nice. And how long have you been out in Arizona?
I've been here for about 4 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how bad are those summers?
Not as bad as everyone makes them out to be. However, they fluctuate. So, I mean, if you can get in the shade, you can tolerate it. It's not that bad.
Okay. And so what is your background? Are you, tell us a little bit about the clinic and your, kind of expertise.
Yeah. So I am a chiropractor by trade. That is what I have my doctorate in. And I chose to go down a path of gaining more knowledge on the rehabilitation side. So more like physiotherapy. I provide dry needling. I am a certified Titleist Performance Institute specialist. So big term for being able to break down the golf swing very well and help individuals gain things like speed, improve performance on the course, build longevity for their game so that people can continue to play for years and years and not have to deal with pain. And everybody wants to hit the ball further. So with this awesome device that we're going to talk about, that's been a lot of fun to see things change on the course for individuals that way.
So is that a certification that you have to get, or are you part of kind of title? I mean, tell us a little bit about that background and how that works.
It is a certification. There's 3 levels. I'm medical 3 certified, and it's movement-based performance. So they've gone down a very specific sport path. They actually do baseball, racket sports as well, and they're able to teach individuals how to really break down like a pitching stance, a golf swing, a baseball swing, racket sports like a tennis serve, and utilize different tools and different rehab modalities and ways to position the body to then improve outcomes for individuals or get them through injury faster and prevent injury, obviously, in the long term.
Oh, that's great. And so tell us, when and how did you get exposed to ARPneuro?
I was first exposed to ARPneuro by the lovely gentleman here in the chat with us, Jake.
Okay.
And I think
lovely is a relative term.
I think we figured it out. It was 2021, I believe, is when he came out to Phoenix.
Okay. Just after COVID, yep.
Yeah, and he brought the RX100 into the clinic that I was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I trained with him on it. And I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical at first. People introduce electrostim and you think the e-stim machines, right? The Russian stem, and you're like, what is this? But as soon as we started training with it, I've got a shoulder issue, and I felt the difference. And I'm like, oh, like this is way different than anything that I've been exposed to. And he was so knowledgeable. And at that time, I think Jake used it all through the pandemic and maintained his strength and actually grew in size, right? You got stronger.
I did. We talk about that occasionally, but yes, it's good to have like actual proof because I was in offices during the time. And, just on a side note, and other doctors are going to know who I'm talking about when I say there's certain doctors. There's doctors that need a staff member to do all the treatments. And then there's other doctors who take so much of a liking to the technology that they become absolute experts. And that's exactly what Dr. Katie was. The moment she started using it, I was like, yeah, she's gonna be a rock star with this. And that was 4 years ago. So
yeah. And Katie, just so you know, I mean, that performance and seeing Jake, I mean, I had to actually ban him from doing these Q&As with shirtless because he wanted to go shirtless. And I'm like, you can't do this to an old man like me. So, but yeah, that is a tremendous story. So so he comes out 2021 and you start experiencing it personally. And then tell us a little bit about how you integrated it, initially into your practice.
I kind of dove in head first, to be honest with you. Thinking back, I don't think there was a patient that I didn't try something on throughout that year. With the practice I was in, we had a lot of low back patients come in because we had a spinal decompression table. And being able to basically, I hate to use the word turn on, but re-engage someone's glutes, quads, hamstrings, because if you have low back compression or an injury, a lot of times the lower quarter stops functioning properly. And then rehabbing them through it can be really hard to build back that strength and kind of have the body trust those body parts again, your extremities. So being able to truly like activate and engage certain areas instead of trying to coach them and cue them through it was a game changer. So honestly, I can't think back to a patient outside of maybe a pacemaker here and there that I didn't use it on in some way.
Okay. And I'd love to hear some of you, because every doctor has them. Tell us some of the biggest aha, oh my goodness, this is incredible moments that you've had with some patients.
The first one that comes to mind was I think he did like the Spartan races, and that might be wrong. It was just crazy athlete, right? He biked, he climbed, he ran, and he just did it because he loved the endurance aspect of it. And he came in and he would get into, I think it was like partway through his hikes that he was training for, and his quads would just cramp up, like seize up on him. And he couldn't figure out why. He'd gone to a naturopath, he got blood work done, nobody could figure out anything internal chemistry wise. He came into our clinic, and I'm going through movement assessments and muscle testing, and everything's firing good and functioning well. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, I can't put my finger on this. So finally I was like, well, let's try an ARP scan. Let's see what happens. And we do a scan, and I think it was his right glute was like not firing well, not absorbing force, not doing what it was supposed to do. But from a naked eye, it was hard to see because he was such a good athlete that he compensated really well. So muscle testing didn't really show us that deficiency. And so I want to say it was 3 sessions into rehab with him, and we just did, I think it was a glute adductor placement, if I remember right. This was 3 years ago or more. He went and trained, and he was like, I didn't have any cramping. Like, my quads didn't seize up. I didn't have any issues. Like, what the heck is that? Like, what what is this thing? But in the beginning, we immediately threw it on his quads, thinking like, this is where we need to put it, because this is what's firing well. And he couldn't tolerate it. So I was like, okay, let's do the scan. Let's figure out where the deficiencies are, and then treat him from there. And it was really cool to see that.
So let me ask you this, in your experience, obviously, what do you think is happening psychologically when you hit that hot spot? What do you think is actually triggering that from your, explanation, if you could?
Are you talking about like when you find an area of deficiency, or you find like
when you're doing it
that's not firing well?
Correct. When you went to the scan, tell us a little bit. What do you think is actually happening, so that our listeners kind of know, in some of the other clinics? And again, we've talked to Kaiser and a ton of people that have all kind of said that, at the end of the day, it's all about the outcome. So I'm not putting you on the spot that this, down to the technical level, but in your opinion and your background, what do you think is happening?
Yeah. I think anytime we have previous injury, the body is going to find the path of least resistance to fire muscles and create movement patterns that are as efficient as possible for what works, right? So this individual, I think, had maybe some low back issues in the past, and maybe that's why his lower quarter wasn't firing well. That nervous system wasn't communicating to the muscles that needed to work well for him to function. And then over time, there was an overcompensation pattern happening. So for me, finding a weak spot, so to speak, with the scan, I think is just an area where the body has kind of detoured, right? The nervous system has detoured and gone to the muscles that are firing well and supporting the system. And the compensation pattern just continues to happen from there. That's kind of how I see it.
That's great.
It's beautiful, beautiful response, especially on the cuff like that.
Yeah, that was good. I put you on the spot, and you stepped up. Thanks, Dr. Katie.
Told you she was a rock star.
Yeah. And so your clinic, it's basically, is it mostly golf or performance based, or tell us a little bit about the traditional client that comes into your clinic?
Being where I'm located in Scottsdale, I'd say 90% of my patient population does play golf.
Okay.
The amount varies. A lot of them can be country club members, so they're playing 4 or 5 times a week. Some of them 6 times a week, where it's like, okay, are we doing anything else to train for this sport? So I see a ton of golfers. I see a ton of rotational sports, and then the other one that's huge out here, and I'm sure in Florida as well, is pickleball. So if they're not golfers, they're probably playing pickleball 4 or 5 hours on a weekend.
This guy right here, he's awesome too, by the way.
I'm obsessed with both. You just described my life. I'm an avid golfer. Unfortunately, my handicap's going the wrong way. I think I'm down to like a 7-1, which means I'm going to lose a lot of money because I'm not that good.
No.
And my pickleball game, I mean, I love it. But to that point, it is good to cross-train. And, we have guys in our group that they're in there. I have one guy in our group. I think he's just turned 83. He walks, he plays from the 2 tees, and he plays 3 days a week. I see him in the gym every day, kind of, preparing for that. And he still hits it just as far as I do, which is amazing.
It's awesome.
Awesome. So yeah, I have a very, very active population. I'm lucky enough to be inside of a very big gym. There's only 4 here in the Valley. And so just everyone's doing something, whether they're working out, playing pickleball, playing golf. Golf is just the most popular out here. And then I'm lucky enough to work with some professional athletes sprinkled through there as well. So,
good. Tell us some of the most, the top 3-4 conditions that golfers face that you see when they come in and you go, okay, boom, here, here's what we're going to do. And how do you treat it?
Yeah. Number one, I'd say is elbows. Everyone, especially the ladies, I feel like golfer's elbow or that tendinopathy that happens. And with my specialty in dry needling, I use that as one of my therapies, as well as some hands-on soft tissue modalities. And then I always use ARP for that specifically. Any tendinopathy, tendinitis, overuse injury, if you want to put it in that bucket, ARP is amazing to help get past that. Second to that, obviously, would be low back pain. With me being a chiropractor, I see a ton of it. And in the golf swing, depending on the dominant hand, right-handed golfers or right-sided low back pain with the way the swing works. Left-handed is going to be more left-sided. And a lot of that comes down to, again, just not being able to utilize the core and the glutes like you need to. A lot of these golfers aren't in the gym training like they should, and they want to play 5-6 days a week. Their body starts to break down. So being able to utilize ARP to help them rehab or improve performance has been huge. Just with an easy placement, like just bilateral glutes. I'll do quite a bit and take them through different rehab exercises or a little gym routine to help them improve their game a little bit.
That's great. Yeah, it's amazing. I think it's if you're playing 5 days a week, and that's a lot of golf, especially at any age. And then you're going to probably get some compensatory issues if you're trying to compensate for an injury or an issue that's may or may not even be aware of it. And then boom, before you know it, eventually something's going to break down. And obviously the ARP is a great technology to kind of either A, find it, or B, stimulate it so that it can strengthen it so you can get that. That's awesome.
Huge.
Dr. Katie, one of your fans out of Chicago has a question for you, if you don't mind. Is there a treatment I can do on my own when I'm on the road?
Well, yes. I'm wondering if she's talking about on herself.
Probably.
Well, obviously, Jennifer, maybe this is a great intro. Maybe Jennifer's trying to lead us to a question about the PRS. Mm-hmm. And do you integrate the PRS with your practice at all, the over-the-counter device for any of your patients?
I have used the PRS myself. We had a few of them in the old practice I was with, and I think I've, at this point, divvied out, 6 or 7 to patients over the years. They love it.
Yeah.
I think there's a gentleman in this last month that I used my own device on the RX100, and he's like, can I get this?
Yeah.
Can I just do my own Can I do my own rehab? Can I do my own workouts? And I'm like, of course. Yes. So on the road, if you're driving or flying or in the car all the time, I'd say core and glutes. Stimulate the core, stimulate the glutes, keep them firing, keep them strong, because anybody that I know that travels a ton, that's usually what breaks down first is the lower back and those postural muscles. So as far as treatment on yourself, depending on what you're dealing with, the core and the glutes all day, for sure.
Love it. Good question.
That was a great question.
Yeah, I kind of on the lines of the PRS as well. One of the things I did like it when I traveled a lot was the neck and low back as well. So I would go on the core, glutes also, and sometimes on the core because I felt like I was doing a workout while I was flying and it distracted me from long flights. But yeah, the back of the neck and low back is another good one you can do if you had the PRS.
100%.
Yeah, good. Yeah, we've got there's a big tournament this weekend that you may have heard of called the Masters.
Yeah.
Got a lot of people excited. I know we're kind of going off topic, but who do you like in this year's Masters?
That is a great question because we had a sneaky win this past week. Did you watch the Valero?
I did not. No.
I'm gonna butcher his name. It's a new kid, but he won that tournament and now has a Masters bid. And he played extremely well.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to bet against Scotty right now. He's playing amazing. I haven't seen the mix in the last couple weeks, so maybe he'll pull something out of the hat. But I would put my money on Scotty, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. He's, I think we had a video on our website of him using the RX to simulate and strengthen his core and for his swing. It's interesting. I don't know if you watched, what is the show? Full Swing. Have you seen that?
Yeah, of course.
So any weekend warrior that's playing 4 days a week can see the commitment that they have. They have personal trainers. The commitment level to the fitness aspects obviously are off the charts. And that's why I love watching that, just to see their routines and how committed they are. And I think Tiger Woods obviously changed that. Back in the day, it was a much easier sport. Now it's like gotten so physical and guys are hitting the ball so far, and it's all about swing speeds and all the breaking down of that. You guys get involved at that level inside your clinic with that breakdown of swing speeds and all those technology that's been brought into the golf game?
I've worked with a few golf pros in the Valley that have some TrackMan technology that can test for that. But me personally, it's not something I test for. Okay. I'm more focused on developing a better movement pattern through the swing for that individual, and then strength around that. And the ARP has been so great to aid in that, because I can't always put these individuals, my patient population's 45 to 70 per se, outside of the athletes. And I can't always put them under the load that I really want to help them develop the strength that they need to then increase ball speed or increase swing speed, right?
Yeah.
So being able to add the ARP again on the lower quarter, quads, glutes, core, wherever the deficiencies are, whatever we find, has been a huge game changer. I think there's an individual I've been working with, and I joke with him all the time. I'm like, you're not sick of me yet? You're not sick of getting electrocuted?
Yeah.
It's been like a year. But drive distance increased 20 yards or more. He went to Pilates 3 sessions after using ARP, and he's like, whoa, I can feel my glutes for the first time in 40 years, maybe. And I'm like, you've never felt a glute contraction? He's like, no, never felt that. I'm like, oh, okay, well, here's our problem.
What tell us, from your opinion, what's the difference? I mean, how, from a professional athlete that you treat and train, versus kind of weekend warriors, is their pain tolerance or their mindset to get through it better or worse? Or tell us a little bit about that.
It depends on the sport the athlete plays, I've learned.
Okay.
Some can better tolerate it than others.
Don't call out any athletes, but tell us what sport are the toughest guys, and who do you think, is closer to weekend warriors like myself?
For me, I've worked with quite a few hockey athletes, and they tolerate it pretty well, to be honest with you. Baseball's hit or miss.
Okay.
And I've actually treated a ex-tour player. He tolerated it great.
Okay, good.
And then I'd say football, by far toughest that I've worked with. Yeah, and I think they just want to beat the machine at the end of the day.
Very true. That's very true in most of those sports.
More is better, right? More is better. I'm like,
sure. That's definitely their mindset.
Oh yeah, Jake has to deal with that on a regular basis. So I know that, helping out all the pro sports teams.
They want to develop a century club, just I think as a way of like a badge of honor. And we try to stay away from that mindset because more isn't always better, as you know.
Right.
But,
I'm like, we can't tax the system too much today. We need to chill.
They don't always see it that way.
Yeah,
No.
that's great. That's great. We got a question comes in here from Mandy. You want to pull that one on the screen?
Yeah. How many ARP sessions do most of your golfer patients do?
Yeah, that's a great question. It really depends on the goal. So if they're coming in and they have an injury, and I'm trying to correct injury and get them through back to pre-injury status, that may be 6 to 8 sessions, right? But I'm also doing other treatments along with each ARP rehab that I do. If we're working on performance, I'm gonna say 12 to 15, no less, because I really want to build a good foundation of some firing patterns, and just that brain to body connection, right? We can't do that in 1 or 2 sessions. You can't expect somebody who hasn't moved in a certain way or lifted a certain amount to develop a good movement pattern and remember what that feels like in just 1 to 2 sessions. So the performance side, 12 to 15, no less, I'd say.
Love it.
Yeah, that's great. Here's a question, because I'd love to ask, because I'm always intrigued. You know, it's amazing how sometimes a patient or somebody being treated could literally get out of pain in 1 or 2 sessions. Tell me from your experience, why do you think that is, and what's happening there neurologically?
I think, again, back to compensation, right? Well, and then we have to think about inflammation. So if an area is extremely inflamed and that inflammatory cycle has just continued and cycled and cycled and cycled, and the body's kind of like ignoring it at that point, we go in and we add the stimulus, we increase blood flow, and we increase some neural firing patterns. The body starts paying attention again, like, oh, wait, I do need to use this muscle again, or I do need to use this joint again. And then the brain realizes, oh, maybe it isn't injured anymore, right? So developing, again, that brain to body connection, for me, is I think why sometimes you can do 1 or 2 sessions and they feel amazing. And there's a term that Jake used when we first met, and he was like, destroying the boulders in the highway, right? Like knocking down the boulders.
Yeah.
So creating those firing patterns again. Sometimes pain can be in our head. Not always. A lot of times it's not. But if it's been a nagging injury in 1 to 2 sessions, it goes away. It's like maybe it was healed, right? We just weren't using it.
Okay. Wow, that's good insight for sure. Good.
I think you confused Matt with all those big words, but
There were a lot of big words in there.
Perfectly explained again. So
yeah,
that's why I've been silent this whole time.
Jake, you know me too well. You absolutely know me too well.
I'm just taking all your jokes.
And I'm starting to get panicked because Jake's supposed to come down and set up my lighting, and the lighting's going down behind me. So pretty soon I'm going to be just hopefully you can see my eyeballs. I'll get closer to the camera.
Yeah, we got to fix that, man. I got to get back down there.
I know he promises, but he's too busy training. Tell us, I'd love to get your insight about, sounds like you've worked pretty well with Jake and our team. Tell us a little bit about your experience working with ARPneuro and our training and our videos. Tell us what you take most advantage of. Is it the one-on-ones? Is it the video? Is it combination?
I get on a lot of the lives. I take advantage of these trainings, these Q&As, because I'm always wanting to know what other providers are doing. If they've found any like little hack or fun thing that they've done different. In the past, just YouTube is kind of what my go-to was when Jake started putting more and more out, or you guys started putting more out on YouTube as far as those training sessions.
Okay.
And our hands-on training session that he did was super thorough.
Yeah.
So I kind of took that and ran with it. And any questions I've had, I've just reached out. Colin has been a great asset of mine. And any question that he can't answer, he'll push up the chain a little bit.
Yeah.
So you guys have been amazing to work with anytime I
Oh.
need anything. So I really appreciate it.
That's great. That's good news. Yeah, we're always trying to improve, and I think we've got some creative things coming in the future to try to bring more and more clinics together for that collaboration. So we've got some great training modules to make it easier for, let's say you're hiring somebody or you've got a staff member that you want to start treating. We've got some clinics that are running with 4 or 5 RXs in 4 different rooms, and they're constantly growing. I mean, it's amazing to see some of these offices that never really thought they'd bring in a modality like the ARPneuro, and actually now almost utilize it, 70-80% of their practice. Are you guys insurance based, or how do you, is it
We are all cash based.
cash based? Okay.
And part of the visit is going to be hands-on therapy, whether
Yep.
it's chiropractic, soft tissue, dry needling, things like that. And then the other part's going to be rehab. And 9 times out of 10, you're going to get pads stuck on you.
Yeah.
I love that. I love it.
In some way, shape, or form. It's just been fun to enhance the rehab portion. I'm a sole provider, so I start to finish. I do everything. And I can, in a sense, shorten up my rehab visits because I'm increasing my dose using the ARP.
Yeah.
For each of these individuals.
So what would you have to say to like a new clinic or somebody that's considering an office bringing in this technology? Any suggestions or recommendations on how they can integrate this into their existing practice?
I think anyone that does hands-on rehab, whether it's physical therapy, athletic training, personal training, I don't know. I think there's some massage therapists out there that are doing some more hands-on, like movement-based stuff. If you want to see increase in patient understanding and an improvement of function at a rapid rate, add ARP to your clinic, because it is truly a game changer. And I don't know that I would ever be able to go back to just here, grab this weight or get in this position and hold for me. Like I just feel like it's mundane, and you can't always coach somebody into a firing pattern. You can't. Like you can tell them 1,000 different ways to feel this or do that or move a certain way. But if they truly don't have the capability or their neurological system isn't working or firing well, I don't know how you're ever going to get them past that point of performance or getting back to play or true injury correction, right?
So in your opinion, then, from pre-ARP technology to now, what do you think? How much faster is that? Is it is it 50%? I mean, tell us a little bit about how much quicker it is to rehab somebody with the technology versus the traditional ways.
Using a percentage is tough, but I'd give it probably a 30 to 40% faster, no doubt in my mind. Return to potentially pre-injury status, right? Yeah. When it comes to performance, I think that's kind of a different gauge, because it depends on where you're starting with an individual, but you are going to increase at a more rapid rate than you would just lifting a weight or using a band or using a certain rehab technique, breathing, different positions. So it increases it significantly, and the patient understands how to feel their body better, which I think is the most important part of any type of movement better.
So since bringing this technology into the clinic, tell us, are you seeing a different clientele? Are you seeing, high school athletes? Tell us a little bit different, how it's changed your patients, if you will.
The running joke here at the gym I'm in right now is she's the electricity girl. They'll see me out and about doing rehab out on the gym floor. I personally haven't promoted myself to high school a ton, so I haven't brought in a ton of high school athletes for me, but I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, it leads to, all you need is one per high school football team or volleyball team, or soccer, girls soccer, whatever. And before you know it, it's kind of how that traditionally. If people want to get a hold of you, how can they, is it email, Instagram, website?
All of the above would be amazing.
Yeah.
Jimmy, there we go.
Perfect. Right there.
Sarah's on top of it.
That way.
Perfect. Instagram, email, hop on the website. You can book direct, but if you have questions, I'm open to answer anything that I can.
Okay.
So feel free to reach out.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot. Are you following our Instagram? I'm learning all this Instagram stuff. Okay. Are you following our new ARP athlete Instagram?
Yes, I just did actually 2 weeks ago, I think.
Nice.
All right, good stuff. Yeah,
I'm excited about that one.
We're excited to start posting more, and if you've got any athletes or anything, obviously we can repost. And this whole, I think I told this to Jake. I don't know if we said it live or not, but I think this social media thing might catch on. I think it might be here to stay.
Nah, it's a fad.
Is it? Okay.
I do have one more important question.
Yes.
Are you following March Madness? Who is you have UConn or Purdue tonight?
I may or may not have put money on Purdue many moons ago to win the whole thing. So wow. I gotta rock with Purdue.
Okay. Purdue.
I tell you that big. That big is gonna be, he is so good. He's on a mission. So I think it's a safe bet personally, because it's
gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a good game.
It is gonna be a
what
time does that even start, Jake? Is that
9 o'clock Eastern time? I know that because I have the TV back there ready to go.
Yeah, I don't know. The first of all, let's talk just for a second. Iowa basketball. Are you kidding me? How cool was that? That was so much fun, and so excited for women's sports and women's athletes. That was, I think, one of the biggest things. My wife is a huge proponent of basketball, and I told her, I said, when you're sitting around, after golf and all guys are talking about is women's basketball and the national championship in Iowa, and there's more eyes on that game. I don't know what the actual audience participation. 3 o'clock though, that's a little early, so I'm not sure who coordinated that plan. But,
it broke some records for sure. The Iowa LSU game was one of the top games. It dwarfed a lot of guys' sports.
More than the Super Bowl and the World Series, I think.
Correct.
That was amazing. That was just, so exciting. And just to see kind of, hopefully that, continues with, WNBA, college basketball. So I think we have time. Let's see. There was one more question. Jennifer, do you want to pull that on from Jennifer Baker?
Yeah. Some of these are coming in delayed. So if I missed your question, I apologize. We had a little, comment delay on our end. So sorry if we missed, and there's quite a few. So if I can work in 1 or 2 sessions, should I keep it up for optimal relief?
100%. Consistency is key with this technology. So not a one and done situation. You're only going to reap the benefits more the more consistent you are utilizing it. So 1 or 2 sessions a week, I'm assuming, is what you mean, which would be perfect. Yeah. Perfect start.
And that's often what we recommend overall. Multiple sessions a week are certainly better. I know there's some doctors that do it 3 times a week and sometimes more. Depends on, again, what you've said before, Dr. Katie, who it is and what they're going through, what activity. If it's a sport, sometimes it's more often.
Hey, Jake, it looks like I just got another question, and maybe I thought we answered it, but what's happening physiologically with the hotspot? I think we kind of answered that, didn't we?
Yeah, Dr. Katie, that one I did see, but it came up and Matt asked that question, but yeah, Dr. Katie was very poetic in the answer midway through. So I don't want to make you run through that again because that was a long explanation, but it is on this video. So if you did ask that question, it's on there.
And I think we had one more question that just popped up here that I saw from Jennifer, 1 or 2 sessions.
Yeah, Katie, Dr. Katie, just answer that.
Okay, good.
It does lead me to another follow-up question. Who's the biggest weenie when it comes to treatments? Is it guys or is it girls?
Definitely the dudes.
Oh, for sure. I totally agree with her. I totally agree with her.
Kind of funny.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, especially when it comes to like the foot bath option. So if we're dealing with like plantar fasciitis or any foot ankle issues, the men
They have a better
really
intention.
don't like it.
No, I totally agree.
I think it goes to I can agree. Jake can probably attest to it. I think women are much stronger mentally than the male counterpart.
Overall, yes, I
Maybe.
definitely agree with that. Overall.
Okay, good
Maybe.
stuff. Well, I wish you all the best. Katie, what a fantastic interview. Very excited to have you on. I think we need to have you come back and we'd love to have you on again.
For sure. Anytime.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Dr. Katie, it's always a pleasure. Keep up the good work. I'm very excited about your new clinic. I'm glad you opened up over there. I know you're gonna just you're gonna rock it. And yeah, if you're golfing over in Arizona, you know who to look up, Dr. Katie.
Exactly. Great
Come
stuff.
see us.
Yeah.
Come see us.
Thanks so much, Dr. Katie.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining in.